And we're back with more Digital Circus, with a new episode, episode 6, being released just a little bit ago. There is so much to unravel in this episode, with just the buttload of character development that pretty much everyone was given and that everyone needed. This episode truly uses the entire 33 minutes to its fullest. In this video, I'm going to go over my thoughts on the entire episode, along with what I think is going to happen next, especially with that very concerning post-credit scene. To start off, the comedy, what little there is in this episode, was very well. None of it was actually really funny, but it was placed in certain spots so that it wouldn't really interrupt very deep moments within the actual episode, which there are many of. The only exception I could even see being made about this opinion would be the scene between Ragatha and Kinger. For the majority of their interaction is very deep and also very serious, as Kinger, being in a relatively dark room, is able to fully come out of his insanity and actually have a one-on-one talk with Ragatha, who, if you've been watching the previous episodes, hasn't exactly been going through the greatest stuff, at least mentally. Towards the end of the interaction, after all the character development was basically done, Bubble does pop in and crack a few little jokes, or at least just makes a joke in general, and then leaves. I guess you could say that this breaks tension, but for me at least, I didn't really see how it would, nor did it actually break any suspense or tension or any tone or mood of the actual scene, so I'm not really going to count it. By the way, the idea of splitting up the cast into 3 separate groups was genius. It is almost impossible to develop each character very well if they were all in a big group, even if they were split in half into 2 separate teams. And because they are all split up into 3 groups with 2 people in each group, one person can interact with another and develop their character, which you see a lot in this episode. Another example being between Zubul and Gangle. Throughout the past episodes, especially as of recent, we've seen their friendship slowly develop more and more as time went on. In this episode, it got even better, especially since we saw both characters interact with each other for a long period of time. Before, it was just quick moments of kind gestures or anything of the sort, but now we actually got like a solid 5 or 6 minutes of them interacting, so that was really fun to watch and also very satisfying. However, me, along with probably most of you as well, only really cared about one interaction in the show, which was between Pomni and Jax, and boy, did we really get one. Their whole dynamic started when Jax is able to convince Pomni to kind of put on a little bit of a mask and act a little bit more chaotic and or evil throughout the entirety of the adventure. Throughout the episode, we are able to see Jax and Pomni become closer, with Jax even opening up a little bit to Pomni because they are becoming better friends. We get to see little hints of emotion appearing within Jax, however, we can see how he slowly tries to hide it and snuff it out. Eventually, Pomni and Jax are able to eliminate everyone else, and it's just them left. Although both of them being winners, Pomni pretends to betray Jax, although is caught off guard when he doesn't do the same. In fact, he actually encourages Pomni to eliminate him from the game, which Pomni is hesitant towards, as she thought that they would both probably eliminate each other, or at least that she would be eliminated before actually having to do anything. Pomni eventually says that she thought that they were friends since they were bonding with each other, especially during the adventure. Jax insists that he's just trying to play part of the game, insisting that none of this really matters, like he said before previously in the episode. And as he talks more, you can kind of realize that he's trying to hide the fact that he has shown some sort of positive emotion, or at least connection, with anyone else in the circus. Jax and Pomni have an argument on whether what they just did together, being the bonding and, killing of the entire other cast, actually meant anything to each other. Pomni insisting that they were basically friends now, and Jax insisting that to him, they were never really friends to begin with, and they never will be, basically. The argument slowly starts to escalate, climaxing at Jax, who suddenly snaps at Pomni, once again insisting how he is basically a 2-dimensional character. He lives in the circus just to mess around with other people. He claims that everyone else in the circus are, quote, his playthings, his things to play with, basically treating everything like a video game, and he basically tells Pomni to stop trying to look for a better side of him. When he turns away, it is very obvious that this is not true, and throughout the entire argument, and also just the episode in general, you can see how this is basically a mask, perhaps even a coping mechanism for being trapped in a circus and or losing so many friends to abstraction. This one interaction is what elevates this episode truly to being the best episode so far out of the series for me. The amount of character development in this episode alone probably would have made it top 2, but because of the interaction between Pomni and Jax being, in my opinion, basically perfectly executed, this episode is immediately made from like maybe an 8.5 out of 10 to a 9.1, and also being the, again, best episode of the series so far. This episode alone has made me so much more invested in the series and what's to come, and I am truly excited for what's to come next. Also, that ending clip scene with Kane's eyes glitching out once he sees the results of the polls on his favorite characters, most definitely Kane is going to abstract either next episode or sometime after that. We already see the circus start to slowly break down, with the different cast members able to kind of just manifest things out of thin air, so it is definitely possible that Kane just abstracts, leaves basically, and then everyone else is just left to die basically. But that's just my opinion. If you want to let me know what your opinion is, feel free to let me know in the comments. I pretty much read all of them. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video.